Long before he got his own movies, Deadpool existed on the pages of comic books, and occasionally made a cameo or two. Today we're going to be talking about the evolution of Deadpool, from his humble beginnings to the merc with a mouth that we all know and love today. And yeah, sorry, but we're even going to have to mention X-Men Origins Wolverine. But first, make sure you're subscribed for more from CBR.
Oh, hello.
Creation. Deadpool got his start on the pages of a sketchbook owned by Rob Liefeld. At the time, he was the artist and co-writer of Marvel's New Mutants series. He was trying to create a new villain, but serendipitously ended up creating the new character that we now know as Deadpool.
Dopinda.
Pool. Dead.
Now here's where we have a little bit of controversy. Writer and editor Fabian Nicieza claims to have co-created the character along with Liefeld, and states that the two refined him together. However, Liefeld claims that Nicieza was simply riding on his coattails. Nicieza pointed out that he looked like Deathstroke from Teen Titans, and named the character Wade Wilson as a reference to Deathstroke's alter ego Slade Wilson. The plot thickens.
Did I leave the stove on?
First appearance. It was decided that Deadpool would be like Spider-Man and engage in witty banter during fights.
What's up, guys? You forget your PIN number?
However, he was to be a much darker and disturbed version, which is a pretty good description of our hero. From the beginning, it was determined that Deadpool would have run-ins with Cable. His creators wanted them to be a new version of Spider-Man and Wolverine, but with a few twists. Deadpool made his first appearance on print in the New Mutants number 98, which was released in 1991. During the issue, he was hired by Tolliver to attack both Cable and the New Mutants.
We will be known as X-Force.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right.
X-Force. In the movies, Deadpool started out solo and reluctantly joined up with the members of the X-Men and X-Force later on. But he started out in comic book adventures as a reoccurring character in X-Force. He then began to meet up with various other superheroes in their comic books, including the Avengers, Daredevil, and Heroes for Hire. Although he did manage to play well with others from a storytelling standpoint, we were still wanting to see if Deadpool could make it as a character in his own right. Considering what a huge success Deadpool is now, that might seem pretty silly, but the 90s were a very different time. So much denim.
You're about to be killed by a Zamboni.
Miniseries. In 1993, Deadpool received his very first miniseries, titled Circle Chase. It was written by Fabian Nicieza and penciled by Joe Madureira. They wanted to see how fans would react to Deadpool, and the series was a relative success. So much so that they got to go ahead to create a second self-titled miniseries in 1994 starring Deadpool. It was written by Mark Waid, who had conflicting feelings about his work. He stated that if he had known Deadpool was such a creep, he wouldn't have agreed to write the miniseries. But although Mark Waid wasn't a fan of Wade Wilson, the public loved the series and wanted more.
Salsa water and lemon for blood. Or wear red.
Comics. Finally, in 1997, Deadpool got his very own comic series. He quickly became an action comedy parody of the genre, and a fantastic anti-hero. This is when we met many characters that we now love, including Blind Owl and Weasel. Because of its unusual leading man, it gained a massive cult following. Writer Joe Kelly claimed that he and his team had a lot of freedom since they were convinced that Marvel would cancel their project at any moment. They wrote like the team who has nothing to lose, and the public loved it. Joe Kelly is also the one who introduced the gimmick of having Deadpool break the fourth wall.
Fourth wall break inside a fourth wall break. That's like 16 walls.
Cameos. While Deadpool comics proved to be popular, he began branching out into television as well. Naturally, it started small with several non-voice cameo appearances in the animated X-Men series. He appeared in flashbacks alongside Wolverine, and we also see a shapeshifter assume his form at one point, but we saw him make an appearance very briefly in Marvel anime X-Men. Deadpool also appeared in the Ultimate Spider-Man cartoon series, but this time he definitely had a voice.
Call me Deadpool.
In the show, he was once a trainee of S.H.I.E.L.D. before he dropped out in order to pursue a career as a mercenary. More people were being introduced to Deadpool, but it was a slow process. We'll get there, good buddy, we'll get there.
Thank you, sir. You look really nice today. It's the green. Brings out the seriousness in your eyes.
Oh my god, you ever shut up, pal?
X-Men Origins Wolverine. Shudder. Fans were so excited to see Deadpool on the big screen in X-Men Origins Wolverine, and he was even being played by a beloved actor Ryan Reynolds. Oh, Canada! However, it went badly as it possibly could. In the source material, Deadpool can be morally ambiguous at times, to say the least, and even he wouldn't be comfortable with the label of hero. But in this movie, he was just a plain old bad guy, and not very interesting one. They even took the mouth away from the merc, which should be a punishable offense. Even Ryan Reynolds hated the way that Deadpool was portrayed, and we definitely don't blame him. Fast forward to Deadpool. Finally, in 2016, we finally got a movie about Deadpool, and it starred Ryan Reynolds. and it was amazing. For many people, this was their first real introduction to Deadpool, the way that he was meant to be portrayed, based on his source material. Shocking, I know. Unlike most superhero movies, which are rated PG-13 to appeal to a wider audience and earn more money, Deadpool hit theaters with an R rating. In fact, other than being an all-around great movie, Deadpool was important because it proved that you can make a profitable movie that's rated R. Hopefully this inspires other directions to push the envelope in the future.
Hear the music.
Deadpool II. 2 years later, in 2018, the sequel Deadpool II hit theaters. It was a huge success despite its R rating, and went on to gross $523 million worldwide. This made it the 6th highest grossing film of 2018, and considering that it came out around the same time as Solo, a Star Wars story, that makes it all the more impressive. Just like the first movie, the sequel was a huge hit with audiences. However, many of us couldn't help but notice that the films were both fairly formulaic. Deadpool has Vanessa, Deadpool loses Vanessa, and thus Deadpool is motivated to complete the events of the movie.
Wait! Wait! 6'4"! 6'4"!
Deadpool 3. If you are one of the fans who didn't appreciate Vanessa being fridged in Deadpool 2, take heart. According to Ryan Reynolds, there might not ever be a Deadpool 3 because it's hard to find ways to motivate the merc with a mouth that are new and interesting. Instead of giving him yet another movie, he believes that the next time we see Deadpool, he'll be a character in a new movie about the X-Force. As much as we love Deadpool, it is hard to have him cracking wise if nobody's around to hear him.
Let's meet in the middle and say no, it isn't.
The X-Force would introduce new and interesting characters who aren't afraid to do what it takes to get the job done, and then probably die in spectacular fashion.
There, all caught up.
What do you think is next for Deadpool? Do you want to see him in more movies, or do you think it's way past his time he got a TV show? Let us know what you think in the comments section, and then hit subscribe for the latest videos from CBR. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.